Hi, I'm Martin Pierce from C2S, and I'm going to go through our latest invoice processing project using Abby FlexiCapture. Before I do that though, let's have a look at our document management system file director. So if you're going to go down the paperless route, or you're already kind of looking at scanning your invoices or collating the invoices that are sent to you electronically, one of the things you probably will need is some sort of virtual filing system. So file director is a superb solution. It's very versatile. On this page here you can see that it says purchase invoices. It can have a supplier correspondence, supplier statements, we can have client correspondence, we can even have things like insurance documents, logistics, dispatch notes, and as I change the document type, the fields change as well. So if I go back to purchase invoices, you can see that we've got a drop down list of suppliers, we've got the invoice number, the order number, the sage reference, the date, so we can search for an invoice on any kind of value that we put in. We can also say, right, show me all of the invoices which are in query, and it brings a hit list back down at the bottom here, and these could be the invoices that I'm working on at the moment that I need to get credit notes for. So obviously getting documents in here, we want to get them in as easy as possible, and we might want to use them for approvals as well, so we can do all of that, which I'm going to demonstrate. But this is the first stage of the system, really, is understanding that behind the scenes there is a great place where you can put all of your electronic documents, and people out in the field can also access file director using a web browser. So in exactly the same way, if we wanted to search for a purchase invoice from one of our suppliers, or as I said, where a status is out for approval, all we've got to do is click the search button and the results will come back over here, and we can kind of drill down. So whether you've got an iPad, an iPhone, any other form of tablet, or your laptop, provided you're hooked into the company network, you should be able to access the documents if your administrator has given you permission to do that. So to get documents in, we need a program that can assist us and perhaps load invoices or scan the invoices or any other type of document and then make sense of them. So the screen I've got here is the desktop edition of Abby FlexiCapture. From a user's perspective, it's very easy. You load or you scan images, you recognize, you verify, you export. So if we have a look at this particular batch I've got here, I've got 4 invoices which are green, ready for export, and we've got 1 which is saying verification. If I double click into this Northampton invoice and have a look at it, we can see the image over on the left hand side. If I click in sort of kind of different fields, I can see the invoice number, the invoice date, I can see who's been invoiced, click to scan limited, I can see the vendor. In fact, I can have a whole kind of synchronized drop down list of my suppliers from my account system. And as I kind of drill down and look at the detail, I've got the tax breakdown. If I click into the different fields, it sort of everything matches. We've got a line item here, so we can see the product code, the description, the quantity, and if I drag the kind of line item along, I can override the default nominal, I can override the cost code, I can set a tax code, and it even gives me some feedback. Order number does not exist. Going further down, I've got some fields here for an approver. I could select an approver from a drop-down list. Some of you might spot those are some Chelsea references there, but for example, if I selected John Terry, I could put the invoice straight on dispute in Sage 50, for example. I could say, yes, I want it on dispute, and I want it on dispute for a reason of quantity. I could override the nominal code on the line item if I wanted to. I can override the cost center code. I can give it a project code, so 1022, for example. We automatically generate a Sage reference, a sequential number. We've obviously identified who the account is in our account system, in this example Sage 50. But down the bottom here I've got a kind of warning. It's saying split value calculator, split value of £5 is not accounted for. Do you need to add another split line? If I drag the invoice down, it's quite right. It's found a delivery charge of £5. So what this means is that we could either delete the line item and we're still going to post the invoice anyway, or I could add another line, and now I've got a separate line there. I could type in carriage. I could say that it's £5. I could drag along and I could say it's a T1 rate. And now when I hit the return key, the warning has gone and it's ready to be posted. So if I was to now save those changes there, this one is ready for export, and if we hit the export button, it will put it in Sage 50. So that document has now been exported. It's gone grey to export. So let's have a look at where it's ended up. Well, the first thing we see actually is that I've just received an email to say that an invoice needs approval. You have an invoice in your personal folder for action, approve or reject. That's quite interesting. So let's have a look what happens when I click on that link to go to my inbox. I can see over here I've got this invoice from Northamber PLC. The information is populated on the left hand side. I can see the status is out for approval and the approver is John Terry. If I double click into it, I've got two choices. I can approve or I can reject the document. I can zoom in and have a look at it in more detail, and I can say wrong quantity, please get credit note. Click save. So that task for the approver is dealt with. Another email has just come in to the accounts department saying an invoice has been rejected. An invoice has been rejected, details below, wrong quantity, please get credit note, Northamber. Then the invoice could be, the email, sorry, could be populated with any other information you need in that email, like the invoice number or a hyperlink to the document, etc. So how about in Sage? Let's have a look at what happened there. So if we go into suppliers and Northamber, and we look at activity, we can see that that invoice was posted 1241. That's the Sage ref. So if I pop that up and we have a look at that, we can see the Sage ref was 1241. The invoice number was ending in 227. Yep, that's it. So it's definitely the invoice. So we've got the kind of headline information here. Then we've populated the Sage ref, the nominal code, the department, the supplier's reference number. We've summarized the line items because they were both going against not the same nominal code 8215. We've consolidated them into one, so we can consolidate the line items on a number of criteria, and all of the sort of net and tax and all that kind of stuff has been taken care of. So Sage has been populated, the file director document management system was populated, and an approval was triggered. One other thing we can do is put a copy of the PDF into the memo tab against the supplier in Sage if a customer requires that. So let's have a look at FlexiCapture in a little bit more detail now. I've got a batch of invoices here that have been brought in that are ready to be recognized, and this is for one of our construction company clients, so a kind of likely scenario for a lot of our customers. So as I said, we can get the invoices in automatically. They can be extracted from an email account and handled and put into a specific location where we just load them or we monitor that folder. In the network edition of FlexiCapture, there is a dedicated program for scanning where you can scan various pages and then afterwards you can kind of rotate them or delete them. With the desktop edition, everything's built in. So let's select these, Control A, and we just recognize them. And what's going to happen now is that all 16 of those invoices or those pages are going to be kind of recognized, and the first thing we need to do is work out who's been invoiced, see who the supplier was, and then find all the values on the page. So this can happen as quickly as your computer can do it. So the faster the processor you've got, then the more likely that this is going to happen quickly. But as you can see, it's happening reasonably quickly in the background. So now they're all recognized. We can see that a couple are ready for export straight away, but the vast majority have got a stage of verification, and we would expect that, but we can see straight away that we've got good results. We know who the supplier is, what the invoice number is, what the date is. We've kind of preset a nominal code based on the value against that supplier in the account system, which again in this example is Sage. We spotted, we found the order number, we know the amount. So there's probably some characters that need verifying. So for example, if I was to take the first 4 there and click run verification, and we'll see what we've got on the screen here. So underneath is what's on the page and above is what it's interpreting as, and the red characters are just saying not quite sure about this. If I click confirm field, we can see that we can whiz through the verification quite easily, and certain fields can be turned off or on. So for example, if you thought that actually we don't need any verification on the descriptions, then we could do that. So if we drill down and have a look into these invoices now, we can see that there's the invoice number, there's the invoice date, there's the supplier correctly matched, there's the business unit correctly matched. So if we drill down and have a look at this, we've got the narrative for each line if we want to use it. We found the quantity, which is accurate, the unit price, the net price, and there's no rules errors at all. It's all matched really nicely. The nominal code, as say, is defaulted to whatever we hold against that particular supplier. So if I wanted to override that and say no, it's actually say 5006, and on this particular line item here I want to put it in as a different cost code, then I can do. The tax rate probably needs to be populated. They're all 20% lines. We've got some feedback on the end here that the order number, this does not exist. So in fact what it's alerting me to is this order number here isn't the order number at all. So if I wanted to overwrite this, I could do. As I'm doing that, the correct order number is coming through from the kind of master order number, which has definitely been found accurately. So we have an order number down here of 34792, which we've identified up here. Because of the way that this customer's order number is set up, we know that the project code is 333, and we've been asked to prefix it with EG. And we've got some feedback on the actual order itself. So check lines for PO match. So what we can do is we can look up individually each line item against a purchase order system. It doesn't matter whether it's Sage or it's any other system, and we can give you feedback as to whether or not the order matches. So this particular order here is all correct. There's no errors. I could, if I wanted to, choose an approver. I could put it on dispute, as I said. So what I'll do is I just save that, and if we were to look at, say, one of the other ones, one of the bulk-on ones, and we've got some warnings down here. So the important thing is we can't put rubbish into the account system. We can police it accurately. So if I drag this down, we've got all our fields again. We've got a bit of a kind of warning over here. It's got an I and a comma. Well, that's clearly not, because it's a number. So what I'll do is I just correct that and put a 1 in. Just correcting that makes all of the errors disappear. Everything is now set up the way it should be. It's found all the other fields quite nicely. So if I was to drag that one along, put the tax rate in, save the changes, that's gone now from brown to green. I'll hit the export button. That again has gone into Sage, so that should now go to grey to say it's been exported. So back over in Sage, in this different company, if we go down to look at this line item here, we can see that we've put the invoice of 1242 in. So if we have a look at that, was that 1242 we exported? Yes, it was. And we populated one line item, and that's all there. There's just one other thing I'd like to demonstrate to you, which we really like, quite proud of. When you're in Sage, there's, as you well know, there's no right click. If I want to see that invoice, it's really frustrating because I can't kind of double click into it and pop it up. So what we've done is written a little tool that links Sage with File Director. So as you can see, we've got some numbers on the screen there. We've got the supplier's invoice number, and we've got our Sage reference number. So how about if we had a little profile in the background then? When I went Control F3, it highlighted that number, popped it up on screen so you can view it. So we call this little tool MIHAS, and it's included in most of the solutions we provide. So when we're selling a complete solution with FlexiCapture, File Director, then we bolt on all the tools that you need to link everything together. So things like if you needed to take an invoice off dispute in Sage following an approval, we've got all that covered as well. So what we've demonstrated is that this program, FlexiCapture, is exactly that. It's versatile. It can massively speed up the job of getting information into Sage with no keying. In this example here, we can make sure that you don't post the same invoice twice. We've got a log of every time that we've processed an invoice. So it's incredibly powerful, and the project we've demonstrated can be used in so many different types of businesses and customized to the way that you need it. So if there's features here that you wouldn't use, we would just turn them off. If there's new things that you do need, we can just switch them on. So I hope that's been useful.